The Egyptian parliament has voted for a motion which calls Israel the first enemy of Egypt. The text, approved by the parliament's lower house, calls for the expulsion of Israel's ambassador to Cairo and recalling of Egypt's envoy to Tel Aviv. Lawmakers also voted for a halt to natural gas exports to Israel and called on the government to revise all of its agreements with Tel Aviv. The parliament is dominated by lawmakers from Islamic parties. Egypt used to be Tel Aviv's closest Arab ally under ousted dictator Hosni Mubarak. However, anti-Israel sentiment has sharply increased after the revolution in 2011, which toppled Hosni Mubarak. Last year, protesters staged several rallies outside the Israeli embassy in Cairo, some of which turned violent. Well, joining us from Idaho via Skype is the co-founder of the Crescent and Cross Solidarity Movement, Mark Glenn. Many thanks for joining us here on Press TV. Now, how significant a diplomatic gesture is this in terms of the rise of a new post-Mubarak Egypt, in your opinion?
I'm sorry, can you ask that again? We had a slight technical problem with the audio. I couldn't.
Right. Now, how significant a diplomatic gesture do you see this as being in terms of the rise of a new post-Mubarak Egypt?
Oh, I think it's extremely important. Generally speaking, throughout history, whenever countries cut off diplomatic ties with each other, that basically says, we don't want to speak with you anymore. I think that this is extremely significant, particularly in light of the fact that Egypt is the first Arab country to sign a peace agreement with Israel and to recognize her as a political entity. So in that regard, it is extremely significant, and I can only hope that those in power in Egypt will follow up with this by forming powerful alliances with countries such as Russia, because the United States obviously is not going to help these people out if they're not going to honor the peace agreement with Israel, the 1979 Camp David Accords. So I think that this is an extremely hopeful trend, although we also have to at the same time be concerned about what Israel is going to do, because this obviously gives Israel all the excuse that she needs to wage war against Egypt, with the goal of reclaiming the Sinai Peninsula, which she considers to be hers anyway.
Right now, with SCAF ultimately making all the decisions, how far is this going to go, especially considering SCAF does dance to Washington's tune due to millions it gets in aid?
Well, it will dance to Washington's tune so long as it doesn't have another big friend in the region that it can depend on. So, as I said, if Egypt is able to form any kind of a practical and profitable alliance, say, with Russia, then things would be markedly different. We would see all sorts of changes taking place in Egypt asserting herself as a sovereign Arab country in the region.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. That was the co-founder of Crescent and Cross Solidarity Movement, Mark Glenn, joining us via Skype from Idaho. Mr. Glenn, as always, we thank you for your insight here on Press TV.